Okay, we're going to look at a few ways we can kind of de-hackify or basically tidy up our code. If you remember, one of the first things I did that I was kind of not proud of was in the def proc dead, I had a kind of a loop that was occurring when you rescued. If you rescued a astronaut or you docked and it was too fast and you died, then it would kind of like loop and it would go there and then it would flip back and crash again and then it'd go back and it would crash again. So I kind of hacked it by putting go-to23 in here to say if you call this, it just jumps back. Now, what happens, of course, is I remove that go-to23. And what I'll also do, and I think I might have done this in another video. Let's go. Because I think I did in the previous video. I'm just going to re-disable that. Okay, so you'll notice that this is the optimized version of the scene. So it's basically got lots of percent signs everywhere. Okay, and percent signs in front of values and percent signs and variables and everything else. Okay. Anyway, I've removed the go-to23. I'm going to run it again. Get rid of that horrible beepy sound. Much better. Then that happens. Get stuck in this kind of loop. Okay, that only happens if it's checking for collision for sprite number. So the whole thing comes down to this thing here, right? So if rescued sprite number is greater than velocity greater than 3, or mission is 1, i.e. it should have been like back on the top, then it goes proc dead. Now, the problem with proc dead is that it calls that and then it comes back and then it does this beep and then it goes there and then it jumps back and it goes, oh, okay, well, I've kind of just set the velocity so it'll fall a bit more and it'll collide again and it'll keep doing that and it'll keep doing that. It doesn't actually die and then go back to line 23. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change proc, this proc in particular. So it's the rescue one. And I'm going to tell it to return a value. So when you go end proc, you can actually say when the end proc occurs, it goes back and it returns a number that we can then read and we can use to make a decision after it's finished. So end proc, I'm going to return a value of 0 if it was okay. After the proc dead, I'm going to do an end proc here. And I go equals, I'm going to 1. So it returns a value of 1 because he died. And this one here, 0. Okay, so this routine now will run. It'll do the collision stuff. It'll go in here and go, oh, okay, you died. But then it'll end the proc here. It won't get down to this next line. Okay, and it won't have that kind of like go to 23 to fix that little issue. Okay. So it'll just return, and it'll return a value of 1. So we go back up to where this actually called. So it's called rescue. There's a rescue. Here we go. Game loop goes down. Okay. And here. Okay, there's a percent 23. So after proc dead, we should. Percent 23, just have a bit of memory. Okay. Okay, so do it after this. So rescued equals sprite over. Then we get proc rescue, so that's the one that goes through. So we're going to say I'm going to go percent, percent, and I'm going to use Z because it's a, in fact I can just go J, doesn't matter. This is one of the ones that we're not actually using in the game loop, so we can kind of recycle that. So we go percent %J equals and we call it, and what that'll do is it will basically the j will contain whatever that end proc equals value is. And then we can go if %j equals 1, then go to %23 equals not let j. So we go proc. Okay, the correct one here is 2% j. Okay, so it says call that and return the result to a variable. Okay, not equals. And then we just check that straight afterwards. If it's 1, then obviously we did die because it just told us we ran the proc, the dead proc. And we're going to use that to say, okay, get out of here, go back to 23. Okay, so that's much cleaner. That's kind of less hacky than the other one was. Okay, and I think everything else looks pretty good. So let's just test that, make sure it actually runs. I'm definitely going to have to find some cool sound effects for this. Okay, so that's pretty good. So it's no longer looping. Oh. Too fast. And it's still looping around on that one, and I think we'll find that it's actually that mission. That mission one that gets called when we reach the top. So let's have a look. Okay, so here it is. Has player docked. Then proc mission complete. Okay, now mission complete's the same as that other one, in that it returns. It calls proc dead. And proc. So we're going to equals 0. So otherwise proc dead equals 1. Right, so if it's fine, it'll go and return 0. Otherwise go dead and then return that. So we just have to add that. Back up. So same thing here. Then proc mission complete, and we get whatever the result was to a variable %j, and then oops, get that bug out. If %j equals 1, then go to %, and that should work. So let's just test that. Fast and perfect. Okay, so we fixed that. We got rid of our kind of a hacked up job there, made it a lot tidier. So let's just save that. Let's go and have a look, and I'm going to call it op dhack. Why not? Okay, I'm going to do a few other little things in here. Okay, so that was one thing. Oops. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a little bit of cleanup while I'm here too. So there are a lot of things that get repeated. So for instance, sprite clear, sprite print 1, sprite border 0. When we get the welcome, it clears the sprites, which kind of blanks all that stuff out. And then we went further down here and we switched it back on again. Now, this line here may as well just be put down at 75 because and then 15, we don't need that anymore. So it doesn't make any sense to have it there, then clear it, and then do that, and then have to do it again. So we're going to move it all the way down to here. Now we do need the sprite clear before that. Okay, and I think sprite clear gets called on our welcome. Yep, so sprite clear gets called there. So yeah, so that's fine. Okay, sprite print 1, sprite border 0. We'll kind of reset that back. So we've kind of just deleted the one at the top and we'll just put it down here. So we don't want to repeat things. Call it once and then it doesn't have any purpose because then we have to set it again. So we just kind of done that. Now I don't think there's anything else in here that needs to be tweaked. There may be, but I think there's a lot of stuff isn't repeated, which is quite handy. Now, there are some things we can do, and we might look at this when we play with the keys next, and that we might be able to shortcut some of this stuff down. So it's instead of being 3 lines of if, we might be able to get it down to a couple of lines, but we'll have a look at that and give that a test run next. Okay, so dehacked, got rid of a bit of the messy code in there. 99. Why I'm doing that, just to put a space because I'm pedantic like that. And we've kind of optimized it down, cleaned it up a bit, and next step, just to finish it up, we're just going to put in the multi-key press and we'll be done. So I'll see you in the next video.